Westport sits with an easy confidence at the edge of Clew Bay, as if it knows that mountains behind and islands before are sufficient credentials for any town. It is a place that seems naturally orderly, almost courteous, yet beneath its Georgian calm lies a history shaped by conquest, calamity, ambition, and a distinctly Mayo refusal to be bowed for long. If you enjoy stunning drone views paired with unforgettable history, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an adventure with Horizon History. Let's take flight. Long before Westport had streets or stone bridges, the area was settled by Gaelic clans, most notably the O'Malleys. The most famous of them, Grace O'Malley, Gráinne Mhaol, was born around 1530 and raised amid ships, tides, and political intrigue. A pirate, trader, and chieftain, she controlled Clew Bay with such authority that English officials complained she was a woman who would not be commanded. Local tradition insists that she once cut her hair short to prove to her crew that marriage would not slow her down, thus earning the nickname Mhaol, the Bald. Whether entirely true or not, the story fits her reputation perfectly. Her stronghold, Carrickahowley Castle, stood near where Westport now lies, its ruins long since absorbed by time and polite landscaping. The modern town of Westport is a carefully planned creation of the 18th century. Unlike many Irish towns that grew haphazardly around castles or crossroads, Westport was redesigned almost from scratch by the Brown family, the Marquesses of Sligo. Inspired by Enlightenment ideals and continental elegance, they commissioned architects, most notably Richard Cassels, to create a Georgian town with symmetry, wide streets, and the rare luxury of intentional beauty. The Carrowbeg River was redirected into a tree-lined mall, complete with stone bridges, giving Westport a layout so graceful that visitors often assume it was drawn rather than built. Westport House, the Brown family's grand estate, rose nearby on the foundations of Grace O'Malley's castle, an arrangement that amused later generations, who liked to imagine the Pirate Queen's ghost wandering the corridors, unimpressed by aristocratic wallpaper. The house became one of Ireland's great stately homes, filled with art, books, and political ambition. The Browns were influential figures, though local folklore insists that Mayo people were never entirely convinced that landlords, no matter how cultured, were to be trusted. The 19th century brought devastation. The Great Famine struck Mayo with brutal force, and Westport became both witness and participant in immense suffering. Thousands died, many more emigrated through the town's small port, leaving behind empty cottages and quiet fields. One Brown landlord, unlike many of his peers, attempted famine relief works, including road building, some of which famously led nowhere. These famine roads, built simply to provide wages, remain etched into the landscape, solemn reminders of a time when survival mattered more than logic. Yet even in hardship, Westport retained its sense of place. The town recovered slowly, helped by fishing, farming, and trade. By the late 19th century, the arrival of the railway connected it to the wider world, and Westport began to attract visitors drawn by the dramatic presence of Croagh Patrick, the holy mountain rising nearby. Pilgrims have climbed it since pagan times, and according to tradition, St. Patrick fasted on its summit for 40 days in the 5th century, banishing snakes from Ireland, or more likely, establishing a very long-standing tradition of uncomfortable footwear. The 20th century reshaped Westport once more. The War of Independence and Civil War passed through Mayo with tension and tragedy, but Westport avoided the worst destruction seen elsewhere. In the decades that followed, the town found new life in tourism, arts, and music. It became known as a place where history was not frozen, but lived alongside modernity, where traditional sessions filled pubs and stories flowed as freely as pints. A short journey from Westport lies Ballintubber Abbey, founded in 1216 by Cathal Crub Darg O'Connor, King of Connaught, who had the audacity to build a monastery at a time when such things tended to be knocked down almost as soon as they were finished. Remarkably, Ballintubber never truly stopped functioning as a place of worship, even when officially it wasn't allowed to. During the penal laws, Mass was said quietly among the ruins, rain dripping through broken stone, priests watched by lookouts who would whistle if soldiers appeared. Locals like to say the abbey survived because it simply refused to notice that it had been outlawed. Today, restored and serene, it stands as a testament to the Mayo talent for quiet persistence. On the shores of Lough Carra sit the ivy-wrapped ruins of Mhaol Hall, once one of Mayo's grandest estates. Built in the late 18th century by the Moore family, it produced George Henry Moore, a statesman who supported Catholic emancipation and whose son later became a key figure in Irish nationalism. In a twist history particularly enjoys, the house was burned in 1923 during the Civil War, not by foreign occupiers, but by Irish forces who saw it as a symbol of the old order. Locals later remarked that the family had supported Irish causes for generations, but politics rarely pauses to check genealogies. Today, Mhaol Hall remains roofless and hauntingly beautiful, its ruins reflecting in the lake as if history itself were taking a long, thoughtful look back. Today, Westport is often praised as one of Ireland's best towns to live in, an accolade locals accept with mild pride and immediate skepticism. Its streets remain elegant, its people warm, and its sense of humour intact. The sea still glitters with islands, the mountain still looms with quiet authority, and the river still curves politely through the town, as if mindful of its Georgian manners. Westport's history is not one of grand empires or thunderous battles, but of resilience, adaptation, and character. It is a town shaped by strong women and stubborn men, by landlords and labourers, by famine and festivity. Above all, it is a place that remembers its past without being burdened by it, walking forward steadily, with the mountains at its back and the Atlantic always whispering ahead. Thanks for flying with Horizon History. If you enjoyed the journey, those sweeping drone views, and the stories woven beneath them, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us where you'd like to explore next. Your support keeps us in the sky and the history coming. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon.